The Bengals almost did it, man. The Bengals almost gave the Chargers the lead in the AFC West. I mean, the Chargers are still in first via tiebreaker because we did beat a division opponent, and we have a crazy point differential right now with 2 blowouts to start the year. But the Chiefs should have taken an L in this game. Joe Burrow was awesome out there. Like, all that talk about the wrist last week, I even made an individual segment for it. Talked about it in depth, like what's going on with the wrist. Put it all to bed, man. He looked great. And even though the Bengals O-line wasn't playing amazing by any means, they weren't outstanding. They weren't terrible, but they can definitely improve. And Joe Burrow had to evade. Joe Burrow did take some hits. He did take some sacks. He did take some moments from Chris Jones where it was like, oh my gosh. And of course, we're going to talk about the fumble late in the game. And then he flipped to the other side of the coin in this game. Patrick Mahomes was sloppy. Patrick Mahomes made multiple mistakes that he never makes. He rolled right and threw an interception straight out of the linebacker. He gave the Bengals that kind of rusty early season Mahomes that we've seen now in multiple years, where he kind of struggles early on in the year, but they just find a way to win just because they're so good as a team in general. It's not just Mahomes. Mahomes is kind of like the cherry on top that makes this a championship dynasty level thing. Because without him, with another lesser quarterback, let's say, I think that the Chiefs are still a playoff team and an AFC contender. If Carson Wentz has to get in there, God forbid, I don't even want Mahomes to get hurt. Even as a Mahomes hater, they're still going to probably win a bunch of games just because of how good they are, even when Mahomes isn't perfect, or like in this game, if we're being honest, outright bad. He was bad in this game. I enjoyed it very much because he's never bad. He never makes this many mistakes. He's always perfect, it seems like. And the Chiefs as a whole were bad in this game. Lots of penalties. Lots of mistakes. Perfect chance for a Cincinnati Bengals win. They could be 1-1 right now, right in the thick of things in the AFC North. But instead, they're going to be 0-2. And like I was saying, it's always the Bengals O-line. It's kind of the weakness on this team. 65 yards rushing. It's just, most of it came on one big run for Chase Brown. It's inexcusable. You have to get more on the ground if you want this passing game to be stellar without T. Higgins in it. Because if you don't run the ball well, the O-line isn't able to establish the run early in the game, they don't have to bring anyone down into the box to stop the run. So they can just double up Jamar Chase all game long and say, make one of these other kids beat us. And we are going to bet on Mahomes and Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce to win once we take Jamar Chase out of this game. And that's exactly what the Chiefs did. They doubled him all freaking game, and the Bengals still couldn't run the ball against soft boxes. And that's what that means when you double them. In most situations, they are taking a safety to blanket coverage over Jamar Chase, someone that would be helping in the rush defense, someone that would be helping in covering the middle of the field, and the Bengals still weren't able to really abuse it. And Mike Gesicki had a great game. He does deserve a ton of credit, but they got to get the ground game going if the Bengals want Jamar Chase to get some more free routes where he's not doubled and tripled up and blanketed. And that's the only way the Bengals are going to score a bunch of points before T. Higgins gets back out there. Now, once T. Higgins gets back out there, now you got problems in the passing game at all times, it feels like. I know the game was still close up until the end, and there was a controversial penalty at the end of the game that everyone's talking about. Oh, the Chiefs get bailed out again. Terrible call, by the way. I personally have watched it over and over and over again. I played defensive back, have a lot of experience with pass interference, and pass interference getting called on me and not getting called on me when it should sometimes. And that's just a bang-bang play. The slow-mo replay makes it look like he got there extremely early. That's just a bang-bang play. The only thing he could have done there, other than what he did, which is jump up and try and defend the pass, is not jump up and try and defend the pass and let the receiver catch the ball. And I don't think that's what the ref's saying he should do. So it shouldn't be a penalty. It really shouldn't have been. They both went up for the ball. The ball was a little overthrown. There's contact early, and it looks worse in slow-mo. But I'm telling you, this happens almost on every pass defense where there's a contested catch, and the receiver catches it or doesn't catch it, and it's just contested incomplete pass. That was not pass interference, but I say that all with a grain of salt because the Bengals blew the game. They had a 5-point lead with the ball in Joe Burrow's hand, who had been unconscious, had been balling out in the game, and finally the Chiefs defense makes a crazy play. Joe Burrow trying to do way too much instead of just taking the sack and punting the ball and being smart about it and trusting your defense, or also just playing the field position battle. So that way the Chiefs get held to a field goal when you have a 5-point lead instead of giving them very good field position, or instead of a defensive back coming in and scooping up your fumble and taking it for 6 to take the lead in this game. And this is just bonehead mistake by Joe Burrow. You got to protect the football in that situation. You got to understand the situation that you're in. And then it gets even worse. Later in the game, later in the quarter, this is all in the same quarter. Bengals got the ball back. They can right the ship. They can right that wrong. They can make that fumble not matter. I wouldn't be talking about it on the show right now if they convert this 3rd and 7. And they're driving. They're already almost in field goal range to make this more than a field goal, where the Chiefs would have to score a touchdown. They also are running the clock down. And Jamar Chase gets a stupid bonehead penalty for arguing with the ref about a hip drop tackle on 2nd and 15 or whatever, where he got 7 yards. Like, why are you so charged? Why are you so upset? Why are you playing with the emotions impacting you so much in the middle of a game? Aren't you focused on winning this thing, Jamar? What is your focus? It seems like his focus is on the individual battles between him and the defensive back. And he's upset at what the defensive back might have been doing all game. And this hip drop tackle sent him over the edge. The ref threw the flag. Do I have my flag prop? I do. 3rd and 7. Remember, 15. It's 3rd and 22. And the Bengals just have to settle. And they can't get anything done. And they give the ball back to the Chiefs. And it's almost like you know what's going to happen. When Mahomes gets the ball, it didn't even need a touchdown anymore. Now you just need the field goal to win it. And they go down and win it. And now the Bengals, who should have won last week against the Patriots, they play just decent Bengals football, but they were absolutely garbage. The Bengals should have beat the Chiefs a couple days ago. Should be 2-0 and are instead 0-2. And that's ugly in this division in the AFC North, where things are going to be tough. Now, the good news for Cincinnati is that with this terrible start to the season, about as bad as the start can get, T. Higgins should be getting healthier and getting closer to getting out there. And now we have Jamar Chase on the field, at least, in this contract dispute. Also, I think that their schedule is super light here. We got Washington this week. Then they go to Carolina. And they got Baltimore, a team that they always play tough, but they're at home in Cincy, in the jungle. And then in New York against the Giants. I think the Bengals can win all 4 of those games, or at least win 3 of them, and be 500 by week 6 or so, week 7. And now you have a whole new outlook on the season, hopefully with a healthy T. Higgins out there. Hopefully the O-line is coming together a lot better. And the defense plays like it did against the Chiefs here, because the defense gave them a really good chance in this game against Mahomes. Overall, the Bengals choked this away. I still think this is a really good team. I'll be taking them to win against Washington. Spoilers for my Mike's Pick'ems Challenge segment. They definitely showed that there's some weaknesses in the Chiefs that can be exposed, and you can force Mahomes to make some mistakes early on in the year here. So I guess the ball won't lie with what happens with the Bengals for the rest of the season, but man, you can't blow shit like that, especially against Kansas City. You can't make that many mistakes and expect to win. That's for damn sure. Let me know in the comment section, y'all, what you guys think of the Bengals. Predict the rest of their record and tell me what their record's going to be. All right, let's briefly talk about the Eagles really quick and what's going on with their situation. Completely blew that game, by the way. The Eagles would have won that game for sure if they just hand the ball off to Saquon. He probably gets the first down and they're kneeling. But even if he doesn't get the first down, then you line up and do the tush push, and then you're kneeling. But either way, the Eagles did not need to throw a pass. They got overzealous. They got overconfident. They got cocky, as you will, and tried to throw this easy dump to Saquon Barkley. And that's when the football gods will bless you with the Saquon Barkley rare drop pass. That's always what happens when you make the bonehead decision, Nick Sirianni. So just mark that down and save it for later. There's other problems with the Eagles other than the coaching decisions too. The secondary is supposed to be really improved this year with some of the additions that they've made. They're already really banged up. CJ Gardner-Johnson's playing amazing, but he's not going to be able to carry this whole thing. They're going to need someone to step up. Quinion Mitchell is still growing, obviously, and he's going to take some time as a cornerback to get better. It's hard to play cornerback in the NFL, especially as a rookie, week in, week out, when they're targeting you specifically, because you're playing on a team with Darius Slay and CJ Gardner-Johnson. Another game records. And the Eagles D-line is not getting home without some extra heat too. That's a big problem for the Eagles defense. So didn't look great in this one. Kirk Cousins had a much better game than he did in week 1. And Philly blew the game. Which leads me to, how many games can Philly blow? How many mistakes can be made? How long can they go Jalen Hurts kind of regressing like this before Philly's thinking about the coaching situation? And is Nick Sirianni on the hot seat this year? I think so. I think the Eagles are too good to go 10-7 and lose in the first round this year. If that's what happens, Bill Belichick could come to the Eagles, and that would be crazy. And I think a lot of Eagles fans would cheer that because the defense would be fixed, and they would run the ball with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. And that is that simple. This team will win 12 games if they just stop overthinking it. Jalen Hurts is not a passing quarterback. We all know that. He's good off the play action when the defense doesn't know the pass is coming. So why not play it that way? That's the way they played it on the way to the freaking Super Bowl. Come on, man. I know the O-line's not as good as it was back then, especially the interior. But it's still really good. And it's still shown to be really good this year, especially in run blocking in front of Saquon. So let's use Jalen Hurts to his strengths, man. I know they're trying to keep him healthy and all that, but it's not going to matter if you keep having him drop back and throw picks. It's not going to matter if he's healthy. Thank you for tuning in to another NFL Mike video. Now it's time to go make more football friends or go and compete in the Mike's Pickems Challenge or against me in daily fantasy football challenges by joining my completely free NFL group chat. Or head to fifthdown.shop and check out and see if we got your team's newest designs. Or now you can simply rep your favorite players without having to wear another team's gear. And then tag us in pictures of you wearing your Fifth Down merch for a shout out in the next episode of NFL Mike's Corner. And help us reach our goal of getting 1,000 NFL fans wearing Fifth Down. Or you can head to the next NFL Mike video by clicking it. It's on your screen. Go ahead.